Hey, everybody. Today is Wednesday, and yeah, it's already been quite a day. But today, finally, I'm going to be able to do what I had planned on doing, and that is make a loaf of bread. Well, 2 loaves of bread actually. But this is a recipe that I have made, I can't even count how many times in the past, because when my 3 oldest children were just, tiny little toddlers, I really had to stretch her budget, and so I couldn't afford to buy bread, and I would make bread every week. Every week I made 6 loaves of white bread and 4 loaves of wheat, and that was my kids' bread for the week. And so yeah, this is a recipe that I am very familiar with, but what I'm planning on doing today is changing it up, because as you know, I have a gluten sensitivity. And it's not that I can't consume gluten. It's not like I have, some sort of disease or anything like that. How can I say this? If I only consume regular bread, like have a hamburger roll, we'll say with a hamburger once or twice a week, that will not affect me. What affects me is if I have a hamburger that one day and the next day I have a sandwich for lunch, and then that evening I have a roll with dinner, and then the next day I have toast, and then in the evening I have spaghetti. Now it's going to be bothering me. So I have found that when I use the sprouted grains, well, I shouldn't say use, because purchase bread with the sprouted grains, I don't have near that kind of sensitivity. I can actually go ahead and have not quite the normal amount from other people, but a lot more than what I presently can have. But that bread is very expensive, so I thought I would try to make my own. So I did a whole lot of research, and everything that it said that you can substitute sprouted wheat bread for any wheat recipe. Just exchange it even for even. Well, I also bought some sprouted spelt flour, because that is not supposed to have near the gluten. So that also said that you can substitute it 1 for 1, but that one you have to be careful with how much you need it or mix it or whatever it is. So I am going to experiment today, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? Hey, it won't be the first time, trust me. So I am going to substitute the white flour for the sprouted spelt flour, and I'm going to substitute the wheat flour for the sprouted wheat flour, but everything else, no. The other thing I'm substituting is I am substituting the brown sugar for my whey sugar, because whey sugar, well, we talked about that before. Anyways, has a lower, it's not supposed to spike your insulin levels like sugar can. But it also is supposed to be able to be substituted 1 for 1. The other thing I'm substituting is I'm not using Crisco. I am going to be using coconut oil. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of substitutions. I have no idea if this bread is even going to work, but I'm going to give it a shot. And I thought maybe you'd like to watch me make a complete fool of myself. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add our yeast. I am going to be putting 2½ teaspoons of dry active yeast in this bowl. This is my sprouted wheat flour, and we are to, I better put a lid on that, because yeah, I'll probably be spilling it if I don't. So we're supposed to just mix this up here. Boy, it's been a long time since I've made wheat bread. Now what I have done in this pan is I have added 1 3/4 cup of water, 1/3 cup brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of shortening, and you just heat this on the stove and get it all melted, but you cannot allow this to get over 115 to 120 degrees. So in my mixer is my 2 cups flour with the yeast, and I am just going to beat at low speed for about ½ a minute and scrape the bowl, and then beat on high for about 3 minutes with this mixture. Okay, that's been about ½ a minute, so I'm just going to go ahead and scrape this, making sure that it's not sitting at the bottom down there too. And I'm just going to mix this for 3 minutes. Okay, our 3 minutes is done. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to remove this from the mixer and just push this aside, because now I'm going to take my flour here and I am going to be mixing by hand. So I'm going to be stirring in this flour. And if you're wondering where I got this recipe, actually this is from my Better Homes and Gardens cookbook, but it's not a new cookbook. It's actually from 1977. So yeah, it's pretty old. So I'm just going to put down a little bit of the flour here and plop this out, because I couldn't get it all mixed in with just a spoon. I need my hands. That's the only way I'm going to get it. So, and hopefully, even though I've used all these different flours that I have never used before, including the sugars and the shortening, hopefully it'll work out. So I'm just going to continue to knead this. And okay, well, this is what it looks like. It's been approximately maybe 9 minutes since I started, and it is smooth. It didn't say that it would be shiny, plus I'm not using the regular flours, so I'm not really sure what this should look like, but it is nice and smooth and pliable, and it feels good. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and I will put it, I have lightly greased this bowl, so we're to put it in this bowl and then turn it over so that, you know, some of that gets on it. And there we go. And I am just going to cover this and let this rise. And hey, it says about 1.5 hours, but like I said, not sure, using different stuff. We'll see what that's going to be like. Well, as you can see, our dough has definitely rose. So I must have done something right up to this point, right? So now what I'm going to do is I am actually going to punch this down and put it on a lightly floured surface, which I have here, and I'm going to divide it in half, and I'm just going to let it rest for 10 minutes after that. And we're just going to let it rest. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, so I'm just going to take my loaf here, and I'm just going to put it in my pans that I have already prepared with some coconut oil is what I did. And I'm just going to return these to over by the stove and let them rise. And I'll show you what they look like when they're done.
Well, doesn't that look yummy? I think I would call that a success. Only wish you could smell it.
For today's devotional, I'm going to do something a little bit different. On the back of our church bulletin was a story that was Paul Harvey, and he was writing to his grandchildren, and I thought that I would share it with all of you. He writes, "We tried so hard to make things better for our kids that we made them worse. For my grandchildren, I'd like better. I'd really like them to know about hand-me-down clothes and homemade ice cream and leftover meatloaf sandwiches. I really would. I hope you learn humility by being humiliated, and that you learn honesty by being cheated. I hope you learn to make your own bed and mow the lawn and wash the car. I really hope nobody gives you a brand new car when you're 16. And it will be good if at least one time you can see puppies born and your old dog put to sleep. I hope you get a black eye fighting for something you believe in, and I hope you have to share a bedroom with your younger brother. And it's all right if you have to draw a line down the middle of the room, but when he wants to crawl under the covers with you because he's scared, I hope you let him. I hope you have to walk uphill to school with your friends and that you live in a town where you can do it safely. On rainy days, when you have to catch a ride, I hope you don't ask your driver to drop you 2 blocks away so you won't be seen riding with someone as uncool as your mom. If you want a slingshot, I hope your dad teaches you how to make one instead of buying one. I hope you learn to use computers. I also hope you learn to add and subtract in your head. I hope you get teased by your friends when you have your first crush on a girl, and when you talk back to your mother that you learn what soap tastes like. May you skin your knees climbing a mountain, burn your hand on a stove, and stick your tongue on a frozen flagpole. I don't care if you try a beer once, but I hope you don't like it. And if a friend offers you a joint, I hope you realize he's not your friend. I sure hope you make time to sit on a porch with Grandpa and go fishing with your uncle. May you feel sorrow at a funeral and joy during the holiday. I hope your mother punishes you when you throw a baseball through your neighbor's window, and that she hugs you and kisses you at Christmas time when you give her a plaster mold of your hand. These things I wish for you. Tough times and disappointment, hard work and happiness. To me, it's the only way to appreciate life. So with that, I want to remind you, life happens. Let's enjoy it. And think over these things that he said. Contained in them is a lot of wisdom. And I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless.